Everybody, we are back. It is Save the Lodge Favorites Podcast, Favorites Channel, Favorites Everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course, pandasubs.com, discount code TDL for 35% off all your protein and all that good stuff that you need. All right, Matt. So we are talking training camp. We still ain't got no film yet. We're about a week away from new film, Matt. We're about a week away. We're close. We're close. So yep. When they play on what, Saturday? When did they play?
It's not even it's not this Saturday. The Hall of Fame game's on Thursday, and then there's no football this weekend, and the weekend after that.
Okay.
It's the first preseason game.
Okay. Yeah. So we're close, man. We're getting close to some new film. I'm excited for that. That's what I'm excited for. I'm excited for the film, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
Give me some dry to watch. It has, man. I'm about to start watching Drew Aller later on today. I don't know. I'm getting hungry. I'm about to break down some Drew Aller tape. You know what I mean? See how that goes, right? You know what I mean?
Is that the new wide receiver they brought in?
No. Dude from I'll probably say his name wrong. The dude from Penn State.
Oh, the quarterback?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think that's you're saying it. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I have it wrong, but
am I saying that wrong?
Chances are you're probably saying it wrong.
Probably. That's how the show goes. All right. So we had our first day in pads today. So we had our first little bit of action. The camp from the offense has been pretty inconsistent. We would say for the offense. Yeah, but I guess they had a better day today. It depends on who you read from. Somebody said Mark is already sick of the Raiders QBs. But it depends on, who you read right now. Vinny was a little higher on the quarterbacks today than, let's say, Deshaun or Vic or even Levi Damien. But it's a little up and down. The defense is playing really well out there. But I mean, I guess we do have something excited about. The defense is probably going to be better than what we've seen in a long time, right? So we're excited about that, and that is something that we could be excited about. But the offense, you would like to hear more better things come out from them. There's better things like when they started running the ball today. We saw some better highlights come out from that. But what are some of your thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, it did sound like the offensive line, which, as you expect, with the first day in pads, played better than what they've seen a little bit in the first few days, and even going back to OTAs. Which again, you kind of expect that with the pads finally come on, it was at least more balanced. But yeah, the quarterback situation, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it hasn't been great. But I did see I thought Ted Wynn from the Athletic put it pretty well. It would almost be more concerning right now if the Raiders offense was moving the ball well and executing well against the Raiders defense with everything going on with the offense, in addition to having the quarterback competition, which we know both guys are solid to good at best. Putting it optimistically, and on top of it, everyone's learning a new offense except for Cody Whitehair, and I guess Devontae a little bit too. So if they were moving the ball and already coming out, storming out of the gates, you almost be a little bit worried about what the hell's going on with the defense then, because this is a unit that for most of them, or a lot of them, are playing in year 3 with Patrick Graham, or a lot of the key players are at least year 2. And again, you'd expect the defense, I guess, to be ahead of the offense right now is where I'm going with this. So yeah, I think that's the one silver lining is we are a week into camp, not even a week into practices, and 4 or 5 practices in. So it doesn't have to be perfect right now, but you definitely like to hear a little bit more optimism and a little bit better news about the quarterback situation. And I mean, even Antonio Pierce is kind of saying it as well. I think he said a few times, he wants one of these guys to take command of the offense, or take command of the quarterback battle and kind of run away with it. And it seems like every day, we're sitting here, everyone's saying yeah, no one really did. We're waiting for someone to really step forward. But again, not even August yet. So doesn't have to be perfect right now, but it definitely is not the comforting news you would have liked to hear to start camp. That's for sure.
Yeah, what it sounds like. I mean, they're probably going to start the season with less volume on offense. They're going to have to start it off really simple and kind of build from there. Because you're right. I mean, it's a new offense for everybody except for like Devontae Adams and, maybe a couple guys that understand the West Coast offense a little bit. But Aiden O'Connell was in a totally different system, totally different language last year. He had to learn that first, right? And now he has to just totally switch it and, be in the West Coast offense. Minshew has been probably in the West Coast offense for I think most of his career. He was with Derek Bevel in Jacksonville, I believe. And then he was with Shane Steichen for both his other years with the Eagles and in Indy. So he has a little bit of familiarity with the West Coast offense, probably more. So maybe you would expect him to be a little bit more further along. You expect if Aiden O'Connell is not playing the best, then maybe you'd expect him to kind of step it up a little bit and kind of just take the lead since he has understanding offense, but he's not doing that either. So, since he's not really outplaying Aiden, it feels like Aiden's not losing the job like we always talked about. But it is interesting to see how these quarterbacks are not performing the best. And I saw him in person. Aiden looks a lot bigger than than I expected. He definitely was a lot on a stature size, and he started off the practice really well when I was there. But it ended badly once the defense started picking it up. And I think the defense is just kind of just so fast right now, and they're everywhere. They know exactly what they're doing. I mean, they've been in the same system for 3 years. It's the same guys. They know what they're doing, right? I mean, the calls are there, the defensive line sets, the stunts, and all that stuff. They're all over the place. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But reading Deshaun's report, I was looking at it right now. Yeah, he was saying there's a lot of drops though today. Tucker dropped a deep ball and Adams dropped a deep ball today too. So he's saying the whole offense is out of sync. So it kind of makes sense. I mean, the offense is just not there yet compared, and they're playing at guys who've been in the system for 3 years against the guys trying to learn what they want to do, how they want to make these plays, and how they want to do things. So it's going to be interesting to see how they keep, if they get better moving forward throughout camp too.
Yeah. I mean, the drops, that's gonna be an issue. That's something you want to clean up. That's something you would hope that wouldn't be a factor at this stage of the game, because I mean that's simple basics going back to the basics of football. You know what I mean? So that I think is a little more concerning than the quarterback's guys not being on the same page in the offense. But again, who knows? Maybe less familiarity with each other and figuring it out right now. That could be a factor. But the other thing we didn't mention too that I meant to bring up was no Thayer Munford, no Jackson Powers Johnson yet so far too, which obviously doesn't help the offense things, especially with Colton Miller out.
Yeah. I mean, when you have Colton Miller out, and then you have Jackson Powers Johnson out, and then Thayer Munford gets hurt, comes back in. They did say TJ Clay's looked pretty good though. He looked like he held his own out there when he was out there, so he didn't look terrible. So maybe he is showing a little upside there too, and he gets his chance to play. Of course, we're gonna see a lot of him in the preseason. We're gonna see a lot of these guys, those younger guys in the preseason for sure. But seeing that growth from him is pretty good. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you have Cody Whitehair out there. You guys know how I feel about Cody Whitehair. It's not going to be, it's not going to be fun for those guys. But when you see some of those things that they're doing out there, it doesn't get you excited for the offense. But the tight ends though, they look like they're getting creative with them. We saw a list of plays that was dropped by Lance. I think it's Lance Reaver. Sorry if I'm saying your
Logan
name
Reavers.
Wrong. Logan Reavers. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, Logan. It is a part of our show to say names wrong, so it's welcome to Tape Don't Lie. So when he he's putting some of those plays out there, you did see the run game was actually getting some runs, and I think that's where we have to take a step back too. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe they aren't the best passing right now, but they're going to be running the ball, right? Yeah. So if we're getting some good runs and they're getting Zamir White's getting some 10, 12-yard carries, and you're seeing some of those carries from Dylan Lobby, maybe that could be the upside that people can get excited about a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, the running game's getting involved. Did I see that too, that Brock Bowers got a carry?
Yeah, 20 yards, man.
That fired me up a little bit too, because I mean, I remember when we talked about with Brock Bowers, that's one of the special things you can do with him is you can be creative, and it's like, all right, we're again a week in, and Getsy's already figured it out, dialing it up, and getting that guy the rock so any way he can, and I mean that kind of that excited me a little bit to find out that okay, maybe there's already some creativity in the playbook. And again, they're a week in there, like I said, OTAs, but they're a week into camp and learning this offense and stuff. So yeah, I was kind of excited to see that. And I mean, I think you touched on it too. Like Lobby's got a lot of momentum right now. Like Amir Abdullah, haven't heard much from him, and it sounds like Lobby's ahead of schedule. I think he might be hitting the ground running, and he might be the third down back, and Abdullah might be on his way out. I don't know. It seems like the 6th round pick has some momentum going into the preseason. Heard good things about him in the spring, and again, it seems like he picked up right where he left off. Can't remember. I think it was Vinny who said like he's been working with the first team in passing situations. So that's good for him, and that's a big move for the Raiders. That could be a key guy this year. That late round gem for Tom Telesco.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan Lobby, I mean, I really expected that, though. I mean, we kind of talked about that in our 53-man rejection, that I kind of expected him to make this team over Amir Abdullah. Just because, one, he's younger, and the big thing is he can block. So then if he's running the ball better and he is, catching the ball better and doing a lot of those things, it's going to make it so much easier for him to make this football team. And he looks pretty explosive out there, man. And he had a long run today too. It looks like it was about 25 yards on a sweep or something like that. So those things are the upside, because that's what they're going to do. I mean, let's keep it real. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play action. I guess Aiden O'Connell's best completion, he had a 20-yard completion to Jacoby Myers off play action. So that's what they're going to do, man. They need to run the ball, play action, right? Get rid of the ball quick. That's going to be how they're going to play offense, and that's going to be how it works out. At this point in time, and to be honest, going forward, I wasn't really expecting craziness and to be like the lead the league in points, right? We need that like 22, 23 points a game, I believe, because I think this defense is going to be like around that 17, 18, in my opinion. Because that's the big thing out of camp, is that, and even when I was there, is those dudes are legit. And this is not a fluke. This is not like a joke type of thing where the offense is terrible and you can make that's why it's always good to do joint practices, in my opinion, because it kind of gives you a better feel of where your team is actually at, because that defense is super fast. So these quarterbacks got to get to their reads quick. If something's not open and there's a guy in their face, and that was without pads. So I don't know, with pads, I'm sure it was worse, and I get, Vinny was saying that the offense had a little bit more time because it had pads on and they were able to get some better throws, because he was probably the most positive about the quarterbacks right now. But, if the whole offense is out of sync, it makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. So defensively, of course, Adam Butler is the man of the day, I guess. I heard he.
So I was confused. Is Jenkins still banged up right now? Because I know he's not on PUP, right? He's just sitting out of practice. And I thought I saw like a video of him like dressed out. I don't know. That doesn't necessarily mean he was playing. But yeah, is he sidelined right now? I guess.
Yeah, he's out right
the way he made it seem. Yeah. And then Adam Butler, who I guess making a few plays against the run. I mean, I saw in that from our guy Logan on a few of his script, he kind of came up with a few stops against the run, which that was shocking to me, just because that was his biggest weakness. That's why he's not a 3-down player right now, is he's not very good against the run. But hey, if he's standing out, even better. I mean, that's good news. I don't know. Maybe he was lined up against Cody Whitehair or something.
Yeah, probably. I mean, because Wilkins is usually next to Crosby, probably. From what the one clip I saw, he was next to Wilkins was next to Crosby, so I kind of expect Butler to be out there, Yeah,
and I was wondering too. I wish it was there. I'm like, was he playing like a true nose? Because I mean, he's only 300 pounds, so he's not like Jenkins is like 325. Usually those guys are like 320. I'm like, is he doing that at nose, or are they going like 2-3 techniques? Which
no, the nose is Byron Young right now
at 290. What's he weighing there right now?
I don't know, but he's supposedly he's having a good camp though. I saw Vic tweet out that he's having a good camp. He's doing pretty good out there. But he's the replacement. Yeah, he's coming.
Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna shut us up, bro. Hey, that's a good thing, actually, because
Yeah,
that's what he was here for, right? Isn't that what they drafted him for? To play the run?
Yeah, but he's like that. He's like a run stuffing 3 technique, which is kind of going out of style in the NFL these days because he's like not very big. He's only like 290, maybe 300. Like he's not that big of a dude. That's what I think was part of the problem last year is like he was like that weird tweener body type where like he's not big enough to play nose, and he was getting his ass kicked against double teams at 3 technique too because he's just not that big. But hey, if he's showing up against the run and he can become a 2-down player, like that's what you need out of him. You got Adam Butler, you got Christian Wilkins, you got Tyree Wilson who can rush on the inside. You don't need Byron Young to be putting pressure on the quarterback. You need him to be plugging up gaps and eating up space and getting off blocks against the run. If he's stepping up, I mean, I'd be really shocked and I'd be really happy at the same time for him because, like I said, they can use that, especially if Jenkins is a little banged up. Hopefully, that gets cleared up soon. But that just adds to the depth of the defensive line. So that fires me up to hear that Byron Young's playing better.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing to get excited about is him playing better. You know, I wonder if he did gain weight because they probably told him that because you got to think about it. I mean, is Butler and then Wilkins, they kind of play the same position, right? And where's he going to fit in? And that's where he has to fit in is playing that replacement for John Jenkins. So he probably did. Maybe he put on some weight and he got a little bit better there. But I think that's something to be excited about too on defense is those type of guys, man. Is seeing Byron Young get a little bit better there, dude. So
for sure,
that's something to be excited about, though. We'll see how it goes when the game starts, but yeah. That is exciting, man. All right, so let's get some of these questions before we get to something else here. So, what is the ceiling floor for the offense this season? What do you think, man?
I mean, I don't mean to be the pessimist, but the floor is legitimately the bottom of the league. Like, if they can't figure it out, like they could be that bad. I think the ceiling is you get to like an average unit, but like the floor is that they could be like last year where they just struggled to move the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, the ceiling of me is probably like middle of the pack, maybe like average. I think anything more than that is going to be expecting a lot.
Yeah, that's true. I think the ceiling would be like, what would the ceiling be like? I think the ceiling would be like the Colts last year, right? Where they run the ball well, they still move the ball pretty decent. They're not like I don't know how explosive they're going to be, right? But they're still moving the ball well. They play good. They're playing great defense and kind of mixing it in there. I feel like that's the ceiling, but you're right. The floor is just them being absolutely awful on offense, which is the scary part, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just wasting a good defense. It feels like everything just flipped. Derek Carr goes away and we just flip sides. We just
to get on a little bit of a side note or a tangent right here. I was doing an article for Bleacher Report and I was looking at the Saints situation. Ramsey's like pretty much out for the year. So they're going to put Petting right back at tackle. They got Fuaga playing left tackle. They got a new left guard. I'm like, dude, this is just awful for Derek. And I'm like sitting here like reading about Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew struggling. I'm like I would take him back. People are gonna be mad at me for that, but I would take Derek Carr over the current situation and just seeing like how I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is so set up for him to fail in New Orleans this year. Like this is not what he needs, and like man, it would just
yeah.
Like I would feel more optimistic about the Raiders this season if they had Derek Carr.
I don't know.
I know he's not the future or the guy that's probably going to lead into the promised land, but they would be better this year, I think, if they had Derek Carr at quarterback. It'd
be better for our eyes. You're thinking film. I know what you're thinking, man. I'm saying Matthew Stafford's on a 1-year, $40 million deal, man. I saw that today. I honestly got a little excited. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like, wow, Stafford might be available, huh? That's interesting. But they're trying to get rid of him, I heard. So I saw that today. It's still very interesting. All right, next question. Adam Butler getting some flowers in media, filling for Jenkins. Is the D-line rotation good enough to take over games from the interior? What do you think, Matt?
Is D-line good enough to take over games? I mean, I don't really know what does that mean. Like good. I mean, I think they're top. Like I think they can be like if if they get depth contributions from guys like Adam Butler, who I think we can expect to contribute, at least as a pass rusher, and then if Byron Young keeps playing, and then Tyree Wilson can take a step forward like this year, I think they can be a top 5 defensive line this year. Like their starters, we don't have really any questions about, like for the most part, like, and they can be a dominant unit. I truly believe that if they get the depth figured out and then they get more contributions from the guys off the bench, like they can be a dominant team. And I think they can cover up a lot of the issues that we're worried about in the secondary from that perspective. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think they can be, like we saw Ted all episode, like I think they could be a damn good defense, and I think they could be a top 5 D line this year if everyone's kind of stays on schedule and grows like you hope.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think the rotate D line is going to be the leader of this team, and they're going to be why they surprise a little bit. And if it's just like I said, the offense doesn't turn the ball over and they stay on schedule, that's my thing. To me, that's how I'm looking at the offense this year: is don't turn the ball over, run the ball well, stay on schedule. If that means you got to throw like a 5-yard check down to Brock Bowers and he gets 10 yards, that's what you got to do, right? And if you got
like AP.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it should be. I mean, that's probably what they're looking at. I mean, because either way, that's what these quarterbacks are good at. I mean, Aiden O'Connell, he last year he struggled throwing the ball past 10 yards. I mean, even when I went to camp, he looked amazing, just picking him apart. The red zone, he looked pretty good. And then when they had to try to throw the ball down the field a little bit more, it got a little iffy. He started throwing some picks and stuff like that. He didn't throw any picks today, but that's what it's going to be, man. They got to stay on schedule, play action, run the football, right? And then, keep the defense, where they're not doing a bunch of 3 and outs and have this defense frustrated like they're the Jets. You know what I'm saying? We don't want a Jets situation, but we don't have Zach Wilson, so I'm not expecting that type of situation. And I think Aiden O'Connell and even Gardner Minshew is better than Zach Wilson, right? So I think we're going to see some moments that they're going to be pretty good on offense, and they're going to see some moments where they're going to be really bad on offense. And I think the defense is going to try to carry them and keep them in games, and that's going to be the big thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And would you agree that we have enough players that the style of offense works? I would say that, they're really dependent on Yak here. They're fully dependent on Yak this year. This is going to be a Yak offense. We're going to try to get the ball, especially I'll tell you what I saw at camp. It was a lot of swing routes, a lot of screens. we're getting the ball out into Brock Bowers' hands. Let him get sit. So I'm saying, get it first down. Play action, get the ball out to Brock Bowers, let him get 15. You know what I mean? That's what we're gonna see here. And like I said, a lot of Yak. And to be honest, you can have explosive plays through Yak if you scheme well, right? If you can scheme it up and get the scheme going, you can manufacture Yak and get a lot of Yak going and get a lot of things happen in that way. So I do think that there's a chance that they could, maybe even be better than we think on offense, just if they can get the ball out of the quarterback's hands quick and they can get the ball in these playmakers' hands. Because, even Jacoby Myers has been balling he balled when I was out there, man. He looked really, really good. And, when I watched this film right before we started covering this stuff, I thought he looked even better than he did before. So, there's a lot of playmakers on this team. They just got to get the ball in these guys' hands. And that's the thing. And, maybe, if the defense is just that dominant and that's why they're struggling on offense a little bit, and maybe we're just being too low on them. We'll see. But hopefully they can prove us wrong after, other reports. That's, like I said, I only went there one day. I'm not there every day. So, we got to trust what these guys are telling us.
Yeah. I think we said it since the draft, really, they have guys that are good at Yak. Devontae Adams can create yards after the catch. We know Brock Bowers, that's his big strength. Michael Mayer can do it too. If Dylan Lobby can contribute in the passing game, that's another guy that can make plays with the ball in his hands too. They have the guys that can do that, that are set up well for having a quarterback who can't really push it down the field. You just have to hope that whoever it is, Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, basically is the 2022 version of Brock Purdy, where Purdy wasn't that rookie year. He wasn't doing anything special, right? He was just kind of staying on schedule, operating the offense and not making mistakes like what you're talking about too. And just putting the ball where it needs to go and taking care of it, not turning it over. And I mean, the Niners were just fine. Like the Niners had a dynamic offense that, a lot of guys that could again make plays with the ball in their hands, like Deebo Samuel, like George Kittle. And I think the Raiders can have like a watered down version of that. I'm not trying to compare them to the defending NFC champs or anything like that, but you have a couple tight ends that can make plays after the catch. You have a wide receiver that can make plays after the catch. And Jacoby Myers, like you pointed out too, like he does have good vision after the catch. I don't think he's the shiftiest guy to be, to be a super huge part of his game. But I do think like they do have a lot of guys who don't need to be getting open downfield or need to get the ball downfield to make impact. The only guy that I worry about with that is Trey Tucker, who is kind of a little bit more reliant on winning deep, which if the quarterbacks aren't figuring out, maybe Trey Tucker's not as impactful as we would have hoped.
Yeah, I said somebody said you have to worry about Yak. You have to stretch the field. I mean, tell that to Kyle Shanahan, man. Kyle Shanahan, he's found ways to get Yak without stretching the field. You gotta have the guys that can make people miss. I mean, that's really what Yak is about. If you especially with choice routes and stuff like that, and you can scheme it up. I mean, I'm not. They can stretch the field because they have Trey Tucker. So Tucker, all it takes is a couple of Trey Tucker catches, and the teams are backing up, right? It's not about like fully stretching the field. And I saw somebody else about O'Connell throwing deep. It's more about him being consistent there. That's what we want to see. I'm about consistency.
And it is funny to me when people say that too. Like, yes, stretching the field vertically is important, but like you can stretch it horizontally. You can create motion and get like 3-on-3 matchups and play basketball on grass a little bit too. Like you don't have to get Yak up the middle every single time and try and make people miss. Like you can stretch defenses out horizontally too.
Will the offense be better than McDaniels? I'm gonna say yes because I just hate it.
Can't be much worse.
Can't be much worse, man. All right, Jacorian Bennett.
I'm gonna go out on a limb real quick and say that the Raiders offense, no matter who's at quarterback, will score 20 points in a game before week 9. So I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna place my claim right now. That's my bold take for the season. It's the Raiders offense will score 20 points before week 9.
Yeah. So. Yeah. ALC did have 35 big time throws, but in college he also led it turnover-worthy plays too. That's why I was totally scared of him. But he wasn't like that in the NFL. So that's why it's just different. In the NFL, it's just a little bit different. You know what I mean? You just got to kind of he's got to get rid of the ball quick, and he's got to be more consistent in that area than he was last year. So he doesn't have like Warren Sharp making those videos of him. On those clip-up videos of him like they were doing, I saw this summer. So it was bad. But yeah, Jacorian Bennett. I do want to talk about Jacorian Bennett in the secondary a little bit. Jacorian Bennett definitely is having another great camp. I saw he had a couple pass breakups today. That would be huge if he took a step because we're big on me and you were big on them bringing him in a veteran corner. So what are your thoughts on Jacorian Bennett?
I mean, another guy like similar to Lobby that like seems like he's picked up right where he left off in the spring. Like we heard a lot of good things about Jacorian in OTAs and minicamp, and I think Ben said he was like the leader in the clubhouse basically of winning that starting job. And again, it sounds like he played really well. I think Pierce is talking him up. Patrick Graham was talking him up too. And like we showed like a few weeks ago, like Bennett has been good when he doesn't think. The problem is when he got into the game and the bullets started flying last year in the regular season, he was just completely lost. And I mean, as far as like projection for a year 2 to make a jump, like you almost would rather see that be the guy's flaws because, hey, he can learn the playbook. And like we were talking about, we've talked about a lot, like having played in the same system for back-to-back years is huge for especially a defensive guy and especially a position at corner where you can't think, you got to react and you got to just kind of know what you're doing like the back of your hand. And if he's doing that, if he's got the mental part of the game down and cutting down on those mistakes, like he's got the athleticism, that's for sure. It's just a matter of can he get the mental part of the game down and be in the right spot more frequently. And if he's doing that, that's a good sign. And maybe they don't need a quarterback. Maybe we've been pounding the table all summer for no reason, and he ends up stepping up, which I think is what you're hoping for, obviously, if you're the Raiders, because that'd be huge if he can fill that cornerback 2 spot. But we'll see how it goes in the preseason, because he did have a good camp last year and obviously fell on his face. But again, good to hear too. Like the biggest part, the most impressive thing that I've heard about Bennett is, and Vinny pointed this out, like he's cutting down on the mental mistakes, which again, that's all he needed. That's the biggest thing he needed to do.
Yeah, he just looked quicker out there when I was watching, man. He looked like he just making better decisions. He had a great pass breakup on Brock Bowers. I mean, the ball was kind of high, but it was a throw by Minshew. It was a little high, but he was in the position. Like, he was all over Brock Bowers. And they're just so fast on defense. When you have that speed, I mean, you got Jack Jones. I don't even know how fast Jack Jones is. Is he like a 4.3 guy? I think he's a.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he's sub 4.4. And
Yeah, so is Bennett. I mean, Hobbs is what 4.4. I mean, I think Morey.
I think Hobbs high 4.4s, maybe 4.5. I don't think Hobbs
maybe
is that fast. That's
maybe
his problem. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I mean, Diablo's pretty fast for a linebacker. And then you got Crosby and all those guys. They're just so fast on defense. It's just when you watch it in person, it's just a lot of flashes, man. Or you just see his black jerseys going everywhere. You know what I mean? So they're really fast on defense, and I think that he has a chance to be pretty good. I mean, Jack Jones is a 4.51. That's interesting. But yeah, I think with Corey Bennett, you want to see that growth from him. But I was a little bit more excited about the secondary when I left camp, but I felt that way 2 years ago too. So, I'm gonna, it's all changes when the snaps, start, man, when they start going. So, but Morag and Marcus Epps look really good, man. I think that's going to be a key for this secondary, the back end, because the ball's going to be coming out quick. We're talking about the Raiders getting the ball coming out quick. It's going to come out for defenses, for the opposing offense. That ball's coming out quick because Crosby is a man possessed right now. He's on a mission. I think he's on a mission with Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion. And I think Patrick Graham is getting creative with him. Like when I was there, man, they did some blitz where he came free. So I don't know what they're cooking over there. They're cooking some stuff for Max Crosby and those boys. So it's gonna be exciting to see what they can do. Yeah, for sure, man. Let's get to some of these questions. Where's that? JB had a great camp. Has Ricky Slims having a great camp. So we talked about that a little bit. Yeah, we hope so. We hope so that translates into practice right there. So we got some Tyree Wilson questions. Can Tyree play better this year? Looked like he was pancaked by backup Andres Pete. And I saw somebody else ask a question about Tyree Wilson. How's his foot? And if is he still a step slow? Now Tyree Wilson looks better just because he's humongous, and I can't get over how huge he is. Every time I see him, I'm just like, you have to work out, right? Every time I see him, like, right? You have to be good, right? Like, you just can't be that big and move like that and not be good. It's in my brain, right? It's just like I literally went to the gym when I came back, bro. Like when I came back after seeing him at the press conference, I was like, bro, I gotta go to the gym because this is
gotta get some more curls in.
I gotta get some more curls in right now, bro, because this is ridiculous how big this dude is. So it's like when you watch him, it has to click at some point. But yeah, he's got to get better with his technique. I believe that's what I think, and they are working on his technique a lot. I saw Rob Leonard and his Mike Tuff. They're really working on his technique, so hopefully they can get better with that.
Yeah, he's the one guy I feel like I haven't heard much about, like in either direction. I don't know. I mean, I think maybe Vince said like the same thing like you did. Like he looks huge and massive, but I think to that question's point, a lot of people, at least my concern with him has always been that get off and how quick he can be. Which I don't know, unless they're going to move him to D tackle, which we've kind of been like, it seems like they've been bouncing back and forth. I'd almost rather see him go in the other direction, but yeah, he's a guy that I feel like I haven't heard much about and would rather see something before I make a judgment call on him personally.
Yeah, sure. Britton Brown or Mari Burney, I haven't heard anything. Who has a better chance? Probably
Brown now. If Abdullah is on his way out, if Lobby can take over, and
yeah, man. I mean, Madison was getting stuffed all today, so you know how I feel about Alex Madison. He was just that Reaver's tweet was just Madison stuffed. So, I don't know what Britton Brown's doing, but it was mostly first team on there because Anthony Brown. I guess he had a pretty good. He's having an all right camp too. Anthony Brown, he's showing out. He had a read option touchdown today. So maybe him versus Carter Bradley. When I was there, bro, they got no snaps, so they didn't take a single snap.
It's tough when you have a quarterback competition and you're trying to evaluate two guys. It's like, yeah, sorry. For the third string battle, we're not quite as concerned with that. Especially when it's like, well, we have an option to keep all four of you, which is put Bradley on the practice squad and Brown on the active roster. Like, yeah. So, but no, on Amari Burney, like, I don't know. I get the feeling he might get cut this year. It's the way, like, he was brought in to be a coverage linebacker and struggled in coverage, and like him against the run was just awful. Like, out of position when he was in position, couldn't take on blocks at Florida. I know it's a 6th round pick, so I'm not sweating it too much, but that was the one pick where I'm like, I can't believe that this guy got drafted. Kind of a deal. So
yeah,
and especially after Eichenberg, who I saw Vinny was talking about him playing well against the run and showing some of those instincts. I think after they drafted Eichenberg, I feel like that that kind of sealed Burney's fate. Like, he's looking at best being the 5th linebacker, and what is it? Our guy Mauga, right? Is that how we determine it? It's spelled Mauga. Mauga. If he's contributing on special teams, like it's those two battling it out, and if Burney can't contribute anything on defense, like I think Mauga's gonna end up taking that spot. So I'm not very optimistic on Burney heading into this year.
Yeah, for sure, man. Jack Jones for 6 interceptions, over under. What do you do?
I think wasn't the league lead like 6 last year. So I guess I'll take the under. Like, I mean, that's a lot. Because you got to think too, if he comes out of the gate like hot, like he's not going to get the ball. Like, quarterbacks aren't going to throw that way, especially if they have questions at cornerback too. Yeah, he's like, teams are going to stop throwing his way a little bit. Get the Osma treatment if he's picking off that many passes. 6 is a lot of picks. What was the NFL lead last year?
Yeah, no, I think Bland had 5 touchdowns, but I think he led the league.
Yeah, he had 5 pick sixes. Yeah, so maybe it was more, but
yeah, that would be pretty nice. I mean, the thing is, it's possible, because I'm telling you, not every quarterback in the league is Mr. Like, I could pre-snap read, handle pressure. There's gonna be a lot of these guys they play, especially early on. I mean, besides like Lamar Jackson, I'm trying to think early in the schedule, like, you can get Russell Wilson or especially if it's Justin Fields or something, you can get those guys to throw some picks off of pressure, right? Especially like Russell Wilson, he's a little washed. You can't move it like he used to. So you see those type of things. It's going to be it is a possibility, because he's a gambler.
Also, this 6 picks would have tied for 3rd with Jesse Bates. So a safety for the most. Like, Deron Bland had 9 last year, which is insane. But 6 picks is, to put it in perspective, that would have been, those are safety numbers. Like, the next cornerback was Rasul Douglas with 5. So 6 is a lot. That's a lot.
That's a lot. So we'll go under. 5 is good. That's a good year, bro. 5 is Pro Bowl.
5 would be, that'd be an outstanding year. That's a Pro Bowl year, pretty much, unless you're getting torched. Unless you're getting torched on the other targets, but yeah, 5 would be a very good year for Jack Jones. I know he had 2 last year with the Raiders in 4 games or whatever he played.
Yeah,
6 would be a lot.
Is Tyree play more inside or out? What do you think, Matt? I don't know.
I mean, there's not a whole lot of room on the inside, especially if Adam Butler's taking over the passing downs and you're not taking Christian Wilkins off the field. So I imagine you probably play outside. I think we talked about this a little bit. Like, if he is putting on weight and he can hold up a little bit, maybe he can be that 5th guy that fills in when anyone but Jenkins, because I'm never going to play nose, play occasionally when he plays in, be that 5th guy whenever somebody needs a blow or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, they're kind of got a log jam after Wilkins and Butler as pass rushers. But so I'd imagine probably a little more outside. I don't know. Tyree Wilson's a tough guy to pin down right now, because especially with Kuntz's emergence that last year, like, I don't know exactly what role he's going to have on this team. It's kind of a bit of a mystery.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Reed, it was, when I was reading his report, he said he wasn't inside at all, really. He's just mostly rotating with Kuntz and Crosby.
Yeah, that's what I imagine.
And he wasn't, making that much of an impact out there. So, I just wanted to answer this question because somebody asked me about Renfro. People are asking me about Renfro like crazy. I don't know what's happening there. I don't know if the Raiders can. They don't need. They have so many targets, man. Who's he replace at this point? When I be watching it,
you need a yak guy, man. A yak guy in the slot.
That is true. That's true. Man.
That's I love Hunter, but like the last couple of years were tough, and like he battled injuries. Like, yeah, like it. Like I love the guy. I love the spirit. Love everything he brought to the team. But yeah, those last couple of years were tough. Ever since the Pro Bowl year, I hope he lands somewhere because I do like the way the guys play, and I think he belongs to at least get a shot somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. Like you said, I don't know where he would fit on the team.
Yeah. What do you? I see. This is crazy. I didn't even know this. Eichenberg is kicking the ball off kickoff. That is.
I just saw Eisenberg and thought Breaking Bad. Can Eichenberg kick? I don't know. Does he have that? Does he have a soccer background?
I mean, these kickoffs are gonna be crazy. I was watching it. I'm like, man, this is nuts. This is gonna be. To me, because I feel like more people are gonna get hurt. Like, what are we doing? I thought we're doing player safety with the kickoffs.
We're gonna trade concussions for like torn ACL.
Basically.
The thing is with like I've seen that like with like I know the Chiefs are like flirting with like Justin Reed, putting him at like kickoff and stuff like that because he did a little bit. Like you do, and like I was watching Max Brown, the old quarterback at USC, like he was talking about it. Did a little breakdown on I think it was the NFL's Instagram. If you guys want to check that out, and he did a really good job of explaining it and explaining the strategy. Like you do want a kicker who has some accuracy to put it in like the coffin corner and get it within that like landing zone. I think it's like inside the 10 or inside the 20 or whatever. So like I would think you'd still want someone who has the like precision and who works on it all the time versus just putting a position player out there who might do it for 10 minutes at the end of practice or something like that every day. So I don't know, like there is like a little bit of like accuracy and skill and touch with it that I think you wouldn't necessarily want like a guy back there. Player. Plus, I think Eichenberg. You might want Eichenberg on the kickoff team because the guy's an animal and he can go down there and make tackles.
Yeah. Also, man, if kickers, if there's gonna be more Justin Reed kicking, Justin Reed for the Chiefs, so there's gonna be more guys like that. Kickers should be worried. They should be worried about how the league is changing. They should look around and be like, "Oh my God, if I can't tackle, am I gonna be kicking?"
It's like the joke that was floating around. Like now Harrison Butler's wife's gonna have to get a job.
Seriously, bro, because if like, what do we need you for? You don't practice, like, and if the guy can kick a 50-yard field goal and he's big and he can do both, I'm just saying they should be worried if that starts to be a trend. If there's a guy who comes out out of college and he can do both and he can play linebacker and kick, you're out of here, bro. We're going back to 1950. I'll tell you that. All right. So they should be worried about that if that's happening. That's all I got to say about that question because, man, whew, good luck for you guys, you little skinny guys. You better hit the weights. Go ahead, Matt. What do you say?
I was just gonna say, I'm just curious for that question. Like, because they called out Jack Jones and I can, he's got me saying Eisenberg, Eichenberg. Do they actually have soccer backgrounds, like, or something like that? Like I have no idea. I'm curious. So now I'm like,
I have no idea, man.
I like the idea. I like where your head's at. We're getting creative with it. We got a month. We got 2 weeks still before the first preseason game or whatever it is. I like it. This is the time to throw that out there. I like it.
Exactly. Why isn't Masterson starting? They're probably going to try Diablo first, but I don't know. Like, I was laughing with somebody because Diablo went to the wrong gap on this clip that somebody posted.
Year 4.
So yeah, I think we see Masterson pretty quickly. I don't know how quick that's going to be, but I do think we'll see Luke Masterson this year pretty quick.
Yeah, it feels like. I mean, year 3. It feels like kind of the make or break type of year. Like either that guy's going to be a career long backup at special team, or he's eventually going to contribute on the team. But I don't know. I mean, last year, like, he had his moments in a few plays. There's also like I never like really like studied him, but there were a few times where because I had that question too, like especially as you guys know my love for Divine Diablo, and I would watch other people and I'm like, ooh, Masters, that was a tough rep for Masterson, especially against the run. There were a few times that he got beat up a little bit. So,
yeah, man, yeah. I don't know. Seeing that clip of Diablo, I was like, I guess I could give Zamir quite credit for setting him up. You know, I was like, there's two ways you can look at the play. Like, okay, Zamir White looks fresh. You get set him up, and you know, it was a nice little mid zone run. But
you know what I'm missing about Zamir White? When has Zamir White ever set anybody up?
I'm trying to
I got you. I got
trying to make positivity out here. You can look at the play two ways. That's what I'm saying.
There you go.
All right.
Fair.
Who gets the last DC spot? Matt Butler, Nesta J, or Mark McCall? What do you think?
I kind of like Nesta. Just out of those three, again, I thought he showed a little bit of promise last year. And he's quick for as big as he is. That's the kind of the unique part about him. But it also depends on the nose tackle situation, right? Like if Byron Young's taken over at nose tackle, then I think McCall is probably out because that Marquand McCall. He's basically like the reason why like we're even entertaining the thought of him making the roster is because there is no other option at nose besides John Jenkins. And I mean, we broke him down like he's all right, like, but he definitely needs some stuff to work on. And I think he's probably got one of the lower ceilings of those three guys, but I would pick Nessa out of those three. Butler is intriguing, but I felt like Butler was a guy like he needed to take a step last year and he ended up getting cut. Like that's kind of where you're at with him. It's like I always thought he had potential. I liked him coming out of Tennessee as a 5th round pick and as a project and as an idea, but it hasn't worked out. And the fact that not only was it like he got cut, it was the regime that brought him in cut him in year 2. Like that's the other thing to keep in mind. Like it's just not a whole lot to go off of with him, and probably the arrow's pointing down on him if I'm being honest. Whereas like Nesta was a guy who again showed flashes at least last year that made me encouraged.
Yeah, he benched himself. That's what Nesta did. More than anything. He benched himself. Thoughts on Brandon Facion? I think Facion is just gonna be depth at this point. I think Bennett, he really didn't run with the ones at all. It was all Bennett. So it's gonna be mostly depth with him, which it's not bad depth. It's not bad, but we'll see if they still. It doesn't seem like they're gonna bring a veteran in. I mean, they're bringing more veteran receivers in after Malcolm Gallup. Kind of just
was like, talk about that yet. That was shocking.
Yeah, he just dipped out. But I mean, maybe he knows better than we know about his knee, probably, and what he can really do. And sometimes you got to think about things like that. But yeah, that did put a hole in wide receiver. But I guess Wilkerson had a good day, according to my dude Levi Edwards for Raiders.com. So, yeah. So Wilkerson, he played like one game last year. He was wide open and Jimmy Garoppolo missed him. So maybe if Jimmy Garoppolo threw him that touchdown, we would be talking about him more. He had
a good preseason too.
Yeah, he did. He did that a good preseason. Him and Okada were, put in that work. So, we'll see how that goes for that for this year. What is your level of concern regarding Colt and JPJ being on the PUP list? What do you think?
I mean, I'll say this, like the JPJ situation to me, I'll start there, is weird because like he started like mini camp or rookie mini camp and was practicing, and then they like held him out for a little bit. Then at the end he started playing again, and now he reports back to camp and he's on PUP. So I'm like I remember telling people during the spring, I'm like, don't worry about it. Like they're being cautious. Like if he gets into camp and he's still not practicing, like it'll be like that'll be an issue. And I thought I was vindicated when he returned to practice. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, now I look like the idiot again when he starts on PUP. So yeah, now I'm getting a little concerned because again, he's a rookie, had some injury issues at the Senior Bowl. I want to say that was part of the problem why he didn't play at Oregon at the beginning, but I think he might have been nicked up or something like that at his time in Oregon. So yeah, it's getting weird. They're also not disclosing it, which I thought was a little weird. I mean, not that they have to at this stage in the game. But yeah, it's a little concerning to me right now. It's like, man, this guy's already banged up and he is a rookie. Like you would want him out there in training camp. And part of me gets a little worried with him. With Colton, like again, the shoulder concern, like he's kind of like Colton Miller. Like I just have that picture of him, and it was a while ago now from his rookie year where he had like ice bags on like both knees, both shoulders, and like one elbow. Like I feel like his body is starting to feel the wear and tear, and like the fact that he hasn't practiced once yet. Not that he's a guy that needs to be out there all the time, but like it's definitely starting to worry me. Of like, man, they are banged up at front, and they're not that deep off on the offensive line. Like Andres Pete can be a serviceable left tackle, but you want Colton Miller in there. Your offensive line really needs Colton Miller in there, not only from the standpoint of he's a stud left tackle and he's your best offensive lineman, but he's also like the veteran guy that kind of can keep the glue together and then keep the whole unit together. Like you want that guy on the field more than anything. And yeah, those two guys are starting to concern me right now. And they said, like 2 out of 5 starting offensive linemen, 40% of your offensive line not practicing together right now. And that's a unit that needs continuity, especially one of them being a rookie. That needs to get familiar with everyone around them.
Yeah. Yeah. They're calling us Zamir White haters, man. I mean, I was trying to be positive. You got to talk to Matt here. I was trying to be positive.
I'm not being a hater. I'm optimistic about Zamir White. I'm just saying, I'm just asking for an example of when he set somebody up. If anything, it's more of a Divine Diablo hate than Zamir White. I love Zamir. I'm behind on Zamir. Zamir's jacked. He's looking big. He's not gonna fumble once with those biceps unless he squeezes too hard and the ball pops out.
I mean, I'm not hot. I like Zamir and Gap. That's what I'll say.
Yeah,
I'm a little worried about the scheme.
But that's part of what I'm talking about with him setting somebody up in his own right.
Yeah, I mean, the Gap is. If we were a Gap team, I'd be like, let's go with Zamir White because that's what he does best. Do the QBs really look that bad? See, I don't know if they look. So the thing is that they just don't look. They don't look good, but they look decent. I think Aiden looks a little bit better than Gardner Minshew right now, and that's just my opinion. Maybe because to me, it just when Aiden throws the ball, it just looks more NFL-ish. I guess when I was watching it in person, it just looks more. You know what I mean? It just looks more like I don't know, like he looks like more of an NFL.
He actually has a little bit of zip on the ball.
Yeah, and it just looks. He just looks more NFL. I guess that's the way I'm what I'm looking for here. So yeah, man, it's that way with that. It's just because when it comes to the quarterbacks and the way that they're talked about, I think it's more about their reputation coming in a little bit too. That people didn't have high expectations. They're kind of getting knocked on. From the beginning, the Raiders, the receiver episode came out. They're getting killed on receiver. They're doing all these other things. They're getting knocked, right? And I think, they look decent out there, in my opinion. They don't look like, they're not putting out highlight throws. They're not doing things like that, I guess, at this point. And that's kind of the problem. Like we're not getting those type of highlights and doing those type of things. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. So I don't know. That's how I feel about it. I just feel like we're not getting those highlight clips and those type of things right now. So that's kind of the knock. But I still think there's still some upside there with Aiden O'Connell that maybe he could do something and maybe get better. So, yeah. What else we got here, dude? So does Tusco have to start scouting LTs in the draft? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Colton's not young anymore either. If he's not 30, he's getting close. So,
yeah. So he's saying when does he set somebody up? That's not hate. I mean, he did in the Casey game. So yeah, you're right about that. But
y'all sensitive.
Well, see, I think we're about consistency here. I'm a consistency guy. You know what I mean? That's my thing. I mean, I am. I saw enough when I was at camp. I'm not glad he is. I don't know what they want to see, but oh yeah, that's because I was at camp, man. This dude, he was just running all over the place, and then like Getsy kind of called him out too a little bit.
Yeah.
So what was the carry between White and Madison in camp? It was I would say it was mostly Zamir White. Zamir White's taking all the load. I would say that. I would tell you that. I mean, he's put on the weight for that. He's going to be the guy, and we saw how many times, I don't know, I can't put the list up here, but Madison was definitely getting stuffed a lot. And I think Dylan Lobby is probably going to start eating into his carries, I think, as the season goes along. and we're gonna see Dylan Lobby become more running back too, like overall, right? Because I'm just not that high on Madison in the first place, so yeah. And he was like -7 yards in the red zone last year.
Yeah, it was bad. It was real bad. I think it was like he got stuffed on. Was it the red zone or was it like goal lines? He like got stuffed. He had like whatever X amount of carries and got stuffed like 7 times or something like that.
Yeah.
I saw that stat floating around. That's ugly.
Yeah, it's ugly. Yeah, and yeah, Zamir White is that jacked. That dude is huge. That is a huge man. What else we got? So over under rookie defensive players. see, that's what I see. We can get positive here about Zamir White. My favorite thing about him is that he's always falling forward.
Yeah,
that when you get yards from him, it's always going to be 3 or 4. It's never going to be like, it's not like Josh Jacobs when Josh Jacobs decides that, hey, I'm going to try to score a touchdown here. And you lose 4 yards. You're never going to see that with Zamir White. So you're always going to get that him falling forward. You're always going to get that like that. If it's a bad game, it'd be like 3.9 yards per carry or something like that. It's not going to be like a 1.8 or something crazy like that. That's what I like about Zamir White, though. To be honest,
and that's kind of what I'm talking about. Where I'm like, where do you see Zamir White really set that many people up? Is like he's a good running back. He's good at what he does, which is going north to south. He's just moving laterally. Has always been his deficiency, and that's hate. I guess I'm a hater. I don't know. I'm optimistic about Zamir White, and I'm excited to see what he can do this year. But
yeah, mostly running zone. Who's back up to JPJ? It's what I feared.
Jordan Meredith, hopefully.
I just think Adam Butler had a great day for a reason. I'll just say that. I thought he had. Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, this is the type of show we are. We can come off as haters sometimes. I can see that.
Just being honest about a guy's skill set. I don't know. I guess that's hate. I don't know.
It is.
Sensitivity is high right now. I guess
it is a little bit. It is a little bit of hating. I understand it. What unheralded receiver is pulling a Johnny Murray? You know who I like the camp was. I liked Alex Bachman. I thought Bachman had a good camp because the only reason I noticed him because he was wearing 33 as a receiver.
I was gonna say, is that the guy that wears 33? like that's gonna piss me off.
I kept thinking it was Dylan Lobby. I'm like, oh, that's a nice route by Dylan. And I was like, oh, wait a second. I looked at my chart. I'm like, oh, it's Alex Bachman.
How'd you get him and Lobby mixed up?
I mean, it was the number, bro. It's like there's 33. Like that's a running back. That's not a. Yeah, it was. I was like, wow, they're moving. Lobby at wide receiver playing X a little bit. They're moving him around. It was Alex Bachman, but he was getting open, man. He was, he might have a good preseason. I don't know. He's sneaky.
Johnny Morant. What am I missing there?
I don't know, but I knew what he meant. Though I knew what he meant.
Yeah, like the unheralded. But I'm trying to. Johnny Munt was the only guy I could think of, but that was a tight end for. I don't think he ever played for Raiders. Johnny Morant. That's gonna bug me all night now. Someone's got to drop in the chat what they meant that was a typo or not.
Yeah. And Alex Bachman, he's a special teams guy. I'm just saying he can sneak on
spot open on right spot open at the wide receiver chart. No Guyton. Guyton's on pup. Maybe
Guyton's on pup, man. What's the next super? Oh, he was the next superstar 15 years ago. Johnny Morant. He's Jerron Kreiner. You remember the Jerron Kreiner days? Oh my God, Jerron Kreiner was the OTA king. OTA legend, Jerron Kreiner. OTA minicamp legend. I remember from like 2013 to 2015, or maybe for like 2012 to 2014, Jerron Kreiner
from Arizona
was a special player every OTA. Like Jerron Kreiner, man, I don't know.
Yeah, because didn't he break a bunch of records or something at Arizona? Like he had a bunch of stats, like slid in the draft and something like that. Yeah,
he's a stud.
I remember Jerron Kreiner, Johnny Morant. I looked him up. He was like 02. I was like 9. Yeah,
man. Yeah, that was a while ago. I haven't watched the podcast yet. I haven't watched that yet, man. I did my ALPA podcast. I pick up my kids today. It was a crazy day for me. I had to take my nephew get a haircut. Crazy day. Didn't get a chance to watch it. Yeah, see, you remember that. You remember not the Jerron Kreiner preseason. You're a real Raiders fan if you remember the Jerron Kreiner, man. We thought he was going to be the next guy every year for like 2 years,
I want to look up his measure. I remember him being like a measurable king too. Like, if I'm not mistaken,
he was. He was a Raiders 5th round pick in 2004. I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if this happens,
6'3", 220.
Yeah, dude, he was just the preseason hype was off the chain, man. Yeah, but if this happens, then we're in trouble. Let's just say that. I'll remember my answer to that. If this happens, we are in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I would have a hard time seeing that happen because again, JPJ's not on the field right now. But yeah, that's not good.
That would be bad. And I like Parham. I think Parham's a solid guard right now. Going against Christian Wilkins, I'm sure he's maybe have a little bit of struggles. I mean, that was our issue, is that when he plays elite players, he struggles against elite guys, but he's good against everybody else. So he's good against the average good defensive tackle that you have. And just when he plays like Chris Jones or those type of dudes, he just gets demolished a little bit. That's what he's got to get better at. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what he's got to get better at for sure, dude. I don't know. I think we're at an hour here, guys. I think we're gonna slow down the questions here. So yeah, so thanks for joining us. We got pretty good, almost 450. Okay, last how have the rookie DBs looked at camp? That's a good question. They've actually looked pretty good. I thought Richardson looked good on Friday. Didn't hear too much from him that much today, but I thought he looked pretty good on Friday. He just looks fast and long, and of course he's going against the twos, of course. So I'm excited to see how he looks in preseason, and of course Trey Taylor too. Trey Taylor had picked. He had a pick today in 7-on-7s, and he looked really good in 1-on-1s on Friday. When I was there on Friday, man, the tight ends were having trouble with him. He was really long. And yeah, he looks legit. I think he's gonna make this team for sure. Of course, he has the infamous holding that Mahomes doll. So he's already made a name for himself. He's got to back it up. He's got to back it up that game. So he's got to go out there and do that. So, but Taylor, he looks legit. So those two guys look good. Devonshire has been kind of hurt. I think he didn't practice today. I don't think he practiced Friday either when I was there. But those guys do this good. Chances BD makes appearance. I don't know, man. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? My dude's on his dean, as we say in Islam. He's on his dean. So
explain that one to me.
It's basically he's strict. You know what I mean? He's on his dean.
Gotcha.
But anyways, yeah. All right. So right here, guys, like I said, we got a pretty good turnout tonight. I really appreciate you guys coming out and talking with us, giving us a lot of questions, talk camp with you guys. Even when we talk about us being haters, we're cool with that, man. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. He's in here every day. My dude EasyPX, he's in here all the time. So I appreciate you, anyways, bro. We love you here. So yeah. So we out here, man. I really appreciate you guys. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. If it's your first time here, enjoy the channel. This is going to be all season, guys. It's going to be all season. So we're out of here. Peace.